They must not be overconfident or complacent. But Arsenal looks such a good bet then for a Wembley appointment on April the 18th against Sheffield Wednesday or Blackburn. Chris Coleman. It's Roger with the header for Crystal Palace. Smith. Morrow, but the whistle is on for a free kick to Crystal Palace. Really have had to reshape that defence with Eddie McGoldrick here, who's played as a sweeper, but now looking as though he's playing more or less as a central defender in a flat back four, but throwing that free kick in towards Eric Young, who was in there. John Humphrey keeping it going, and you would expect Palace to make a blistering pace early on in this game to try and unsettle Arsenal. It's one of the best chances they've got. Maybe the only one. David Seaman. Lee Dixon with the throw. To Smith. Smith, the scorer of 2 of the goals in that first leg. Ian Wright with a penalty got the other one. Here's Smith again. Carter. Missed in by him. McGoldrick with the header. Dixon. Up to Merson. Nice of the ball played into Davis. A nice touch for him as well. Wright was on target, but not with the power to really trouble Nigel Martin, but some lovely work here by Arsenal. That little touch there by Davis and the quick shot by Wright. Seaman clashing there with Coleman. Just a lack of communication there for a moment between Winterburn and his goalkeeper. Coleman almost capitalised. Seaman's long clearance up towards Alan Smith, but Young winning it in the air. Carter playing it in once again towards Davis. Wright crossing it in. Smith on the far side. Merson's come in there. It's taken the deflection off the defender Eric Young for a corner to Arsenal. But Arsenal, when they get towards that Palace penalty area, really up the pace a little bit and look as though they have a bit of bite about their play tonight. Well, here comes the corner. Taken by Merson, curling in there, and it's knocked in there by Andy Linnigan, and Arsenal score with just over 6 minutes of the game gone. Linnigan's second of the season. Not such good marking here, but a good leap there by the number 5, Andy Linnigan. Martin just got a hand to it, but it wasn't nearly enough. Another angle, the same result, the big number 5, a towering header, and Arsenal ahead. Winterburn's throw. Morrow tried to get onto it. Carter might yet turn it back for Arsenal, but he was stopped by Gordon, and it'll be an Arsenal throw. Leaves it for Dixon. First two, he got the header too, and McGoldrick, emergency action there for Palace. Coleman coming back now to do some defending and lend some much-needed height to that Crystal Palace defence, but it was amazing how easy it was for Linnigan with that little flick on header, and there he is again with a header, but this time the flag is up on this side. I don't think Roger Milford, yes, he has seen it. An infringement and a free kick to Crystal Palace. Causing problems is Linnigan. This long throw from Dixon, he arrived late but just flicked it on, and McGoldrick got it away. Forward to Coleman, cut out by Morrow. Here's Thomas. Foul on the Crystal Palace captain, Jeff Thomas. There was talk at one point that he might join Arsenal, and then there was talk, of course, that he might join Blackburn Rovers, which really has made it a fairly unsettling season for the Crystal Palace captain. They do need him in his most inspirational form, particularly now. McGoldrick then with the free kick for Crystal Palace. Floated there towards Chris Coleman. And Southgate has it knocked off the line by Dixon. And Palace were very close indeed then to an equalising goal. It seemed, well, there are two players down at the moment, but it seemed the moment Seaman missed the punch there, they were in trouble. It was Gareth Southgate who got the shot in without a great deal of power, and Dixon on the line to get it away for the course. Simon Roger with this corner, he's got a good left foot on him. That's the best example of it. And this time Seaman did catch safely under pressure from Jeff Thomas. Throw to Arsenal. Dixon with the long throw. Linnigan's now getting there to look for that little flick on. Makes his runs very late for that position. He is going for it now, and he got there. And in the end, it's Wright who's forced it home. Well, they were caught out by Linnigan from a corner earlier on, and they had the warning from an earlier long throw from Lee Dixon that Linnigan was able to knock on. He makes those runs so late, just got a little flick on. Smith didn't get a touch to it. In the end, it was Wright who forced it in at the far post. So Ian Wright's on the score sheet again, and Arsenal are sailing towards Wembley. There's the flick. And there's the touch of Ian Wright. What was a difficult task for Palace has now become almost an impossible one. But there's Coleman with a shot, knocked away by goalkeeper Seaman. Thought for a moment it may have cracked against the post, but the referee's given a corner. So Seaman must have played a part in it. As Palace came firing back. Roger now with the corner for them. Floating one in there towards Eric Young, but Arsenal get it away again to Steve Morrow. Up to Ian Wright. Hit long by him, but not a good one that time. And easy for Martin. Coleman jumping there for it. And it was a question of whether it came off Seaman or came off the post. In fact, it was a bit of both, because a corner was given, so Seaman must have got a touch to it. Now Linnigan and Wright have made it even bigger, and Carter looking to add to their problems. Wright trying to turn it back in. Smith! There was a chance there. Davis looking for it on the volley, but it's wide of the Palace goal. And Arsenal nearly finishing the first half with another triumphant flourish. Jimmy Carter's ball in the first place was a little overhit, but Wright made the most of it. And Smith was almost presented. Well, maybe he didn't really expect to get a chance there. In the end, Paul Davis's volley, more danger to the cameraman than it was to the goalkeeper. And while you were watching it, the half-time whistle's gone, and Arsenal looking set for a Wembley appearance on April the 18th, leading by 2-0 here tonight, with Linnigan and Wright their scorers, making an overall aggregate of 5-1 advantage against Crystal Palace. Crowd here today, 28,584, and no doubt the Arsenal fans amongst them just wondering what they do now about getting tickets for the final itself. They must be so confident. And for Ian Wright, who scored the second goal, a mixed first half for him, Roger Milford, the referee, confirmed in fact that Ian was booked for dissent during that first half. So he scored and got a yellow card. Morrow gets it away. Dixon's header for Arsenal. And a goal kick for the home side. Down from the director's box to the track side. Looks like being an unsuccessful night for him, but he's had almost 9 years at Selhurst Park now, and they've mostly been pretty successful. It's a Palace throw. Humphrey with it. Watts. Southgate. Winterburns after him. Morrow getting it away, not very far. Simon Osborne just prodding it in there. It'll be a corner for Palace. More positive and a little more aggressive in this second half for Palace. 5-1 down on aggregate, mind you. Entitled, and you would expect them now to throw caution to the winds and really have a go at Arsenal. Here's Roger with the corner towards Jeff Thomas, knocked down by him, and Chris Coleman almost looked as though he had a chance of knocking it over the line of formality, and in the end it was Gareth Southgate who put it way over the top. Well, it looked like a chance for Coleman. Maybe he got himself caught up there, and that's why he's injured. There was a real chance there once that header had been made, and he just catches goalkeeper Seaman. Southgate then knocks the ball way over the top. Smith. Arsenal's free kick. Tony Adams takes the kick. Can't quite make up his mind where to put it. Now he can. Aiming towards Paul Davis. Ian Wright going in there too. Alan Smith's in there also. Now Davis with a chance here. Good save by Martin. And in the end, Jeff Thomas gets it away to George Endar for Crystal Palace, and they might hit something on the break. He's got terrific pace, but so too there had Lee Dixon. But a great save by Nigel Martin at the other end. Smith playing in Paul Davis so well. Last 3 minutes. A match that will certainly take them through to Wembley. That was a clumsy bit of play in defence, really. And suddenly Gordon might be through. Good work again by David Seaman. But they were sloppy with that last clearance that gave possession to Crystal Palace. They've only themselves to blame that they were given a problem there. Seaman did his work well. For a moment, Campbell back to right again, a shot on the turn, well smothered by the keeper. Adams. Away, but he's missed his chance. Palace are on the move again quickly with that goal kick taken in the last minute of the game now. Jones, who's been practically unbeatable again tonight. Good combination with Linnigan. Keown, of course, waiting in the wings, not eligible for this competition. It'll be a throw to Arsenal. Thomas. Finding Roger. Gordon, Endo trying to get the better of Linnigan. But it's Palace throw. Certainly credit to this young Palace side. They have battled away well. Although the odds from the word go were so heavily stacked against them. I think Steve Popper was talking about 100 to 1 outsiders. Well, that may be a slight exaggeration, but certainly the odds were stacked so heavily against them. At least when they went down to Andy Linnigan's early goal. So credit to Palace for the battle they put up. But certainly all credit to Arsenal too. They're through to Wembley. They now face the winners of Sheffield Wednesday or Blackburn in that final at the famous old stadium on April the 18th. A classic north-south conflict then. Arsenal seeking to win it for the second time. Andy Linnigan's goal put them on their way, and Ian Wright with the second one made it 2-0. So Arsenal are through to Wembley on April the 18th. Winners 2-0 here tonight, 5-1 on aggregate. You can't get more conclusive than that.
Well done, you're through there. I think this was the first tournament you won actually as Arsenal manager, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's my first season. But I think it's been too long since we've been at Wembley. We've not been here for a while, so it's nice to go back again.
Second home from now on, though.
I hope so. It's a big club, this, and I think the people within the club deserve it, and the fans have been great. You know, they've been patient this season. We have been very inconsistent in the league, but we seem to have stable performances for the cup ties, and it's good for everybody connected at the club.
Well, they won it at a canter, really, didn't they?
Do you think Palace were ever in it?
Stroll. No, never in it. I mean, right from the word go, really, but once Linnigan scored, it was all over, wasn't it? They were never ever close, really. They tried, but to be perfectly fair, they were a pretty ordinary side.
Well, we can have a look at the goal now.
Yeah.
It came, as you say, in the 7th minute. Was there a hint of jostling here between Adams and the keeper?
Well, if it was the keeper's fault. But, I mean, Linnigan was so totally unmarked there, I think even I could have headed that in, as I am now. And you can see the Palace's defending was pretty dismal. Look, I mean, there's everybody, and that's Ian Wright getting in. I don't know what he's got his hand up for. Maybe he was surrendering, I don't know. But to be perfectly honest, it was always going to be quite comfortable for Arsenal. I think we knew that. I think Crystal Palace knew it. That was half the problem.
Useful result for them, though, because they're now one game away from a place in Europe.
Well, obviously, I mean, it's great from Arsenal's point of view, and we know that they're highly delighted. I mean, we saw George smiling there, didn't we, George Graham? So it's all going well. It's looking great for them, and you have to give them full credit. They did what they had to do tonight. That was go out, get hold of the situation, make sure they didn't give an early goal away, which they didn't do. They nailed one. It was all over by the shouting after that, and there was 28,500 people doing it. But they must have been very happy with the result.
OK, Jim, thanks very much. Still to come, it's Newcastle United versus Charlton, plus the pick of this week's action from the Barclays League First Division. We'll see you in a couple of moments.
More than £1 million to reinforce a squad that's led the First Division for 6 months. Number 2 Mark Robinson and number 11 Scott Sellers come straight in for their debuts, with Gavin Peacock, Barry Venison and Kevin Sheedy all injured. Robinson cost £450,000 from Barnsley and will replace Venison at right back. Sellers was the more expensive at £700,000 from Leeds United. He'll operate wide on the left of midfield instead of Mark Simpson. It's a different world for Charlton Athletic. They field this lineup because it's the only one they have. With 8 first-teamers injured, all available men are on duty tonight. Alan Pardew is the latest victim, so Paul Bacon comes into midfield. But an away win at Southend on Saturday still kept Charlton in with an outside chance of the playoffs. The referee, Richard Poulain from Huddersfield. It's a perfect night for football as we get underway. Newcastle United only 1 defeat in 10 league games this year. Charlton Athletic with a more unpredictable record. They've won 4 and lost 3 of their last 7 games, and they drew the previous 6. Charlton 11th in Division 1, 23 points behind the leaders, Newcastle United. But still with an outside chance, as we've said, of a playoff place. Newcastle looking to wrap up promotion in almost record time. Last season, Middlesbrough went up with 80 points in second place. Newcastle have 70 already. They've also got tremendous interest in their new double signing. This is Robert Lee against his old club. Oh, what a start for Robert Lee! That's a goal he really would have wanted. Charlton Athletic, his previous club. Nearly 350 appearances for them, and he's dealt them an absolute body blow in the opening minute. He's in such tremendous form this season, Robert Lee. He was away through the middle, sized it all up, and planted it past Mick Salmon. Robert Lee, they'd hardly settled the Charlton back four, and he was through. And Robert Lee, £700,000 he cost from Charlton. He's still a hero down there in South London, but he's shown no sentiment tonight. There could be another one on here for David Kelly, and this time Salmon blocks, and Charlton are in chaos at the moment. They've not settled at all, and Newcastle are punishing them with a vengeance. Looking for Leeburn, inevitably. Nelson not able to... Oh, and there's a mistake there from Howie, and that's the equaliser. Gary Nelson punishing the error there, and he's had to go through the pain barrier, it looks like, for that, but he won't mind at all. And Charlton have snatched an equaliser. It's a long trip up from South London, and Nelson looks in some discomfort there. And that's almost as big a stunner as the opening goal by Robert Lee. Howie was checking there, having a look around, tried to play it out, and got an awkward bounce and fell over it, and Nelson snapped it up. Leeburn with the jump. Howie seemed to have it under control. Maybe had two thoughts about the back pass, and that was too many, and Nelson was in there and prodded home the equaliser. Very swell for Robert Lee. Just a bit too high, that one, for Scott Sellers. Around a bit recently, Leeds, Blackburn, back to Leeds and now up to Tyneside. Beresford. Kelly trying to get on the end of it. Webster was there and it fell for Lee Clark, who really got hold of it. Asking a fair bit to try and keep that one down. 7 goals already this season, Lee Clark. Sometimes his shooting, it's felt, lets him down a little bit. He got the power, but not quite the accuracy. Beresford. Clark, Sellers, Clark. O'Brien. I wonder if he got a shout or not. It's not easy to hear in Paxton James's part, but Robert Lee's been given the ball again and through for Kelly. Salmon did enough. He had to attack David Kelly, and the keeper was positive, and Kelly must have got the final touch. Nice close passing again. And Kelly closing in, Salmon all the way out. Never got to the ball, but it was enough to shove Kelly out wide. Howie right on Nelson, and that's a goal kick. Gary Nelson and Carl Leeburn have had a hard first 45 minutes work. Into stoppage time, and Leeburn might finish it in style for Charlton, but not with a strike like that. Space just opened up for him there. Was possibly as surprised as everyone else in the ground. The header caught out the Newcastle defence, who pushed forwards. Leeburn made a fair old hash of that one. Beresford having a look for O'Brien making the run. And it was a good jump by Webster. Kelly on the end of it. Apart from Hauptmann, that's a bad mistake that nearly let Newcastle and Lee in again until Salmon dealt with it so positively. A few mistakes in this game. Bracewell running into his opposite number, Minto. It's obstruction, says the referee. And a minute or so into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Got a chance here, perhaps, for Newcastle to grab the initiative. Howie and Scott forward again. Bracewell and Sellers there. Scott Sellers with the free kick. And it's there, and it's David Kelly. 2-1 to Newcastle. David Kelly, the perfect timing again. Right at the beginning and right at the end of this first half, Newcastle have scored. Relief perhaps in the St James's Park crowd. Smiles from Kelly.
Second goal for Newcastle.
Sellers served it up on the plate. David Kelly got in there and it was out of Salmon's reach. Sellers, an excellent touch. He'll be pleased with that on his debut. And David Kelly, a fine number 9's goal. And David Kelly's 20th goal of the season brings to an end the first half that started and ended with a bang for Newcastle after Robert Lee gave them such a sensational beginning in the first minute. But that shot equaliser by Gary Nelson threw Newcastle out of their stride, but they go in at half-time, back in control. It's Newcastle United 2, Charlton Athletic 1. We're spending money like it's going out of fashion here at Newcastle. $5.5 million to go on a stand at the Lees' end there. They signed that deal on Friday. More than $1 million on players yesterday. Not bad for a club that's $6 million in debt. But they've got a 1-goal advantage here against Charlton Athletic. Thanks to David Kelly's goal right on half-time. See the Charlton management down there. Steve Britt in the middle, smiling. Sellers. And they were looking for the free kick then for Paul Bracewell. They weren't going to get it. They'll have to settle for a corner kick instead. Steve Gatting knocking the ball behind. Kevin Scott, as usual, going up this time for a position almost on the goal line. Lee Clark will deliver this corner, although Beresford's gone for the short ball. Lee Clark with a different angle to play it in. Picks out O'Brien instead. Just a little bit of ground and momentum with that one. Bracewell and Minto, the two number 8s, battling, and Minto winning it. And a bit of a break on here by Charlton. Hauptmann trying to go through the middle. Got the break of the ball and found Bacon. Nelson is out wider, but it's back into the middle. Howie gets ahead to it. Balmer looking for Lieburn. Cernicek loses out, and that's another equaliser for Charlton Athletic. This time it's Cole Lieburn. They made it look so simple as well. Lieburn got a knock, just as Nelson did when he scored the first equaliser. Cernicek came for it, didn't get it. Lieburn did. Good ball delivered into the middle. Lieburn, whose height and jumping has been a threat all night, judged it correctly. Sellers with a chance to cross. Beresford has it now. Webster is on handball by Kelly. Oh, the referee spotted that one. David Kelly getting on the end of the cross, but not legally. Sellers knocking it back for Beresford to deliver. And Kelly realised perhaps he was never going to get to it. And a hand there, and not getting away with that one. And again, his close control paying a dividend, but it was a sharp tackle by Darren Pitcher. Robinson looking to open it out. Stimpson available. And holding off the challenge while Beresford comes forward and squeezing it through. Kelly stole in there, and Kelly, well, what a marvellous save by Mick Salmon to retrieve the situation for Charlton. Well, somebody will owe him a drink in the bar afterwards. Stimpson forwards. They hesitated. In came Kelly. Got the shot in. Marvellous recovery by Salmon. Now he's got the corner kick to deal with. Corner kick knocked in, headed on, and Salmon couldn't hold on to it. And it didn't fall there for Beresford, and finally away by Nelson helping out. Leeburn's picked it up. Leeburn twisting and turning and losing out. Now it's Lee Clark. Lee Clark, David Kelly making runs ahead of him. Stimpson in the best position out wide here. Square for O'Brien, who can hit them. Has he opened up the room for the shot? Looking to get on the way of the return. Oh, saved somehow. Minto was back there. Last-ditch stuff now from Charlton. O'Brien, a great scything run through the middle. He went for it all the way, took it on his chest, tried to flick it over here, and Minto, great covering. Lee Clark available ahead. Stimpson takes it up out wide. O'Brien comfortably past one challenge. Robinson. This is Lee. Good run by Bracewell. A clever little header down for Lee Clark. Once again, Lee Clark looking for the spectacular finish. It was a very neat move indeed. Robert Lee's ball forward. Bracewell knew exactly where Clark was. He might have taken it on a stride. Hit it first time over the top. Howie. Lee. Lee Clark. O'Brien. Beresford. Somebody's got to play the crucial ball in. It'd be Beresford. Howie is up there. Looking to keep his account square. Steve Howie, whose error led to Gary Nelson's 8th minute equaliser. Up there in the attack with a good jump, not that far over. Kevin Keegan faces a trip to Swindon and another key game this Saturday. Would like to have gone there with 3 more points under his belt. Looks like he's going to have to settle for just the one. St James's Park proves another lucky ground for Charlton. 3 wins and now a draw in the last 4 visits. And that's quite a tribute to the walking wounded. This was the only team they could put out, Charlton, but they've done the job for their manager after Robert Lee had scored that early goal against his own club in the first minute. But twice they came back from the dead, Charlton. Nielsen punishing one mistake, and Carl Leeburn early on in the second half punishing the keeper, who was a little slow to get to the cross. Newcastle had another point to their impressive total to date. It's only a small step perhaps nearer the Premier League, but Charlton can be more than satisfied with their night's work this evening. The final scoreline, it's Newcastle United 2, Charlton Athletic 2.